Hey Dito, do you know what time it is?
Yes, Casey, it's time to save the red pandas.
All right. In this episode, Kagami goes on a drink run. We learn what happens to guys when they see a pretty girl. They lag. And THNN talks about the latest approval ratings in the election. All that and more coming up. Here we go. In three, two, one. Sega. It's time for the Ktdata podcast with Tito and Ktdata. The Ktdata podcast is brought to you by the ICEO. You know you want one. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ktdata podcast, and I am Ktdata.
And I'm Dito, guys.
And here is the book club of anime watching, I would say. If you guys have not seen an episode yet, we're like halfway through season of whatever, like our third or fourth.
Third, we're like almost. I think we're like one episode away from finishing up our third season. Sorry,
we're up to 1 year now already. That's crazy thinking about it. The idea is you go watch the animes. Stop! Don't turn us off yet. I know some of you are like, I didn't watch the animes. Head on over to ktdata.net. Check out our show notes. Those have links to all the anime episodes, and you can just stream them and watch them at your leisure. Then come back to us and listen to us blab on for a while. How you doing, Dito? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, from the last time you saw me, KT, we were doing this again. So from then to here,
I feel like I see you every 2 weeks.
probably because you do, KT. Probably, maybe.
Oh, at least it's a lot cooler now. Like here, I know in the
Yes.
Ktdata studios, much cooler, even with the studio lights on.
Yeah, so we're experiencing that Utah weather because now we have like what? It's been 80 degrees, 90 degrees in the last week, and now it's 62 right now.
Yes. But do you know what's consistent? We have 2 more episodes of Kuroko's basketball, and it starts now. Or maybe not.
Let's fly now.
There it is.
Let's fly now. Let's fly now. Get my face. Fly now. Lift my face. Fly now. Get my face. Fly now.
All right, and our first anime is Kuroko's basketball, and is brought to you by cooking. Remember to add some secret ingredients to make it just like mom. So, when we last left off, Saren gets to play 3 practice games. Tepe finally comes back, the return of the prodigal player, and Kuroko gets a new groove.
Huh?
So, it looks like when we first start off this episode, they're actually past all the 3 practice games and everything, and the team hasn't fully recovered yet, I would say. But you see Hyuga and Rico, they're just walking around the halls. You know, it's kind of the traditional. So what do you want to do on summer break? And you kind of get the, maybe we should go to the beach. Beach sounds good. How about the mountains? Mountains sound good. How about, are you even listening to me? I don't really care where we go as long as we're going. And she's like, we gotta pick a place for practice. And the rest of the team's like looking over. Why aren't they deciding we're practicing like a couple? But you know, you'd think summer vacation would be a good time to relax and everything. But you know,
It's a time for their planning their demise and what to do about how to make themselves improve for the next Winter Cup coming up.
But good news, since they're going to the mountains and going to the beach, they can take number 2 with them. Looks like Kuroko made sure all the tenants are good. But since they're going on 2 trips, they decided to go on cheap. And
Being
so how to keep the cost down?
cheap. Yeah, so
They have to cook their own food, and
not just they. Their coach has to cook the food.
oh crap! Remember the last time she tried to cook, she forgot to peel the lemons.
Oh yeah, there was that whole
Oh,
shoving a whole lemon in Kuriko's mouth too. But anyways,
I'm scared now. But we do find out Kuroko, he can make one mean boiled egg. They're kind of going around and they're like, "Oh, who can cook?" And it's like, "Can you cook, Kuroko? I can make a good boiled egg." Don't you? He's probably better off than me. I burn water.
better than my friend who sets water on fire.
Well, mine smokes. His has flames. It's all the same, right? Okay, so
To burn you out sound faster.
what I actually think was funny is they decided to practice or a taste test of Riko's cooking, and well, her curry looks like she just dug it off the ground. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah.
And what happens when everybody tries it, Dito?
Think of the most worst tasting food you've ever had, times it by 100, and that's pretty much what the same reaction you're gonna have.
I think it's funny that Hyuga, he's just like scarfing it down because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
That and Tepe, he does the cool things like, it had the most important ingredient, love. But you missed something along the lines. Maybe you should practice.
Yeah.
And everybody's
that's
like, "Oh, so cool!"
until they have to go find Hyuga, and they find him like face down in the hallway.
Yes. It's like, what's surprising is that Kagami actually can cook, and I love how he's like, I love how he's doing it. He has just this giant bowl of rice, and it's just like one of the tiny soup bowls, and he uses his rice up there. And the thing is, he's doing the Jenga thing too. He's like getting it right at the bottom. And there's like, I live by myself. So we find that, so he tries to teach Riko how to cook, and then we find out that what was the reason why the food was tasting nasty. Riko decides to before serving add a little bit of kick.
Just that little something that is, I guess, to her is well needed for every food, I guess.
Well, everybody likes a little bit of whey protein and vitamin C in their food, right?
Food. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't you?
The funny thing is, the way she puts it in, I don't know how they didn't notice it before, because there's like giant pills sticking out of the rice. I'm like, what?
How do you not notice these things?
Okay, but so they head on over to the beach, and I love this. I took this straight out of the script. They call it the practice of hell, where they're gonna work 3 times harder than they would, and they actually are playing on a beach, which was kind of weird. But it turns out Riko had a plan, right, Dito?
Yeah, so with them playing on the beach and everything, it's a better way to improve their balance, and also because you can't bounce a ball and everything, you're gonna have to look how to throw, like how to pass better. Like it really does work on your skills a lot better if you're able to just like, footwork and how to grip in the sand and everything to make turns better, etc.
Yeah, and for Dito in the chat, or for Rev in the chat room, boobies. So it causes them to. So what they did at the beginning was kind of play on the beach, and then the day after or in the afternoon they're playing on hardwood again, and their movements are a lot better now after that. But after that practice, Riko is talking to Tepe, and he's like, the team needs a spark, something to kind of motivate them. So they're trying to decide something, and the next morning, there's just running gag for some reason that Kuroko's hair just goes during the night. I don't know why. And But so Kuroko is there brushing his teeth with Kagami, and then all of a sudden, guess you just see this green hair walking by, and they turn around and it's Midora Dima, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" It's like it's tradition for us to come and practice here.
And this is about the time where I realized it's just a small world. I mean,
Yes.
all these schools have all over Japan and everything. Apparently, it's just a small world, and they all just happen to go to the same places and just call it tradition.
It's a small world after all. Probably make everybody run away.
Yeah, I think people are gonna run away now. Thanks,
Um,
KT.
but right before they get into the fight, Rico comes around. Hey, we're waiting for you. Breakfast is in the kitchen or something. And she's like all bloodied up with a knife that's bleeding. I'm like,
Yeah, I was just like, Halloween's coming up. That would scare the crap out of me.
But so it looks like apparently Shitoku's there. Rico and her amazing coaching skills decides to do practice games for 3 days straight with Shitoku. So they're playing practice games and everything. And the thing is, Kagami's not playing any of these. She's like, you need to go get drinks for everybody. So go run on the beach in your bare feet and bring back the drinks one by one. And so it's literally the rest of some Siren playing against Shutoku, which they barely beat the first time around, and then they got demolished in the inter high games. But apparently they still lose, but they're only losing by like 10 points or so. So it seems like they're doing fairly well, and that's without Kagami. But Kuroko's doing some weird things, like he tried to go one-on-one against Midora Dima, which totally didn't work.
This is about where you notice that he's trying to create his own style now, because they've mentioned that in our last episode that Kuroko needs to kind of develop his own style now. It's something that's gonna be able to surpass the Generation Miracles.
Yeah, and so what we learn is that Kuroko, when you're watching these episodes, you notice Kuroko, he never actually holds on to the ball. He's always doing touch passes on there, and we find out that's actually the weakness in his skill to be able to use his misdirection, is because if he's holding the ball, people's paying attention to you. It's a bright orange thing that's the main object of the game, so he can't really do that. That's why he's doing touch passes, so he limits the amount of time he's actually holding on to it. But Midori Dima's like, he's kind of afraid what might happen if Kuroko actually decided to get better at it on there. So after that, for some reason they decided to do actually we forgot to do our normal beach episode Scream.
It's true.
It's too late. That just hit me now. But after that, like everybody, for some reason, everybody's in the bath, and then Kagami comes back with all the drinks. Finally, he's like, "I went to the auditorium and no one was there."
Yeah, and you can tell that he's been like seriously working out, because he had at least a whole 12, at least 12 drinks there. So that means he's been going back and forth 12 times all the way across the beach and everything, sweaty beyond reason. And unfortunately, when he got to the bath, they were being clean, so he kind of missed it.
Yeah. So, but he comes back and there's an old guy in there, and the old guy's like, "Huh?" It's like, "I can't take a bath." Oh, sad. So we actually, and then there's this. I don't even understand this weird icing thing. That's not how you ice legs. We'll just keep going on. So we actually learn a little bit about Kagami right there. We know that his special ability is able to kind of jump as high, but everybody's saying, like, if you're gonna do an air battle, it's more than just jumping high. And we kind of find out that Kagami, normally he jumps off his left leg for his normal dunks, but for his super dunks, he's jumping off his right leg, which means his right leg is much more powerful than the left leg. But But that's not enough. He needs to do more than that, than just being able to jump high. And so Kagami decides to challenge Midori Dima. So Kagami has 10 tries to try and score on Midori Dima. If he scores once, he wins. And at this point, I'm going like, why is Midori Dima helping Kagami? This is weird. They're opponents.
They're supposed to be either hate each other or so-called rivals, but that totally baffled me that he's trying to develop Kagami there. It's like, huh?
Yeah, that was really weird. And then we find out that the reason why Midori Dima was so confident is because Kagami has no variation in his scoring ability. He literally goes straight up the dunk every time, so he's predictable on there. And the only way to do that is and the reason why he does that is because Kagami's ball hand, he usually dunks with his right hand, but his left hand, he's not really a great ball handler at it, so he can't really do like his fake or his double pump using his left hand because he doesn't have enough control on there. So like Kagami knows that by the end of the summer he needs to improve his legs so for longevity and his hips for jumping, and then he needs to get better ball handling with his left hand. And then we're still stuck because remember before these 2 episodes, Kuroko, he's trying to develop his own style of basketball right there, and he still hasn't gotten over any ideas. And as he's talking to Kagami, Kuroko's kind of getting this idea. And that oddly enough, that's pretty much all of their beach camp escapade. But right before they're headed to the station, we find out the reason why Rico decided to pick this place for their camp was because the Inter High games were going on in the same town. So they actually go, and guess what game's going on when they get there? Kaijo High School, which Kisei's from, against Toho, which Aomi's from. So we actually are going to see this battle between Kisei and Naomi because we've never actually seen the Generation of Miracles play against each other. It's usually just Kuroko and Kagami playing against them. So it looks really exciting, and they kind of pump it up because apparently Kisei and Naomi used to play one-on-one all the time, and Kisei would always get his butt kicked. But Kisei, on the other hand, has pretty confident he can get good. And of course, that's when they decide to cut the episode.
Yeah.
They finally
had to
picked up
They cut it
steam.
the most like horrible point right there, just going like, oh come on. You know?
Yeah.
So next episode we're going to have a lot more enticing tidbits.
And then, well, speaking of animes that cut off the perfect time, Sword Art cut off perfectly last time too. So let's just jump into it. And our next anime is Sword Art Online, and it's brought to you by
Mistakes, because it can cost you an arm. Maybe a hand.
Yeah. So in the last episode, you take a blacksmith with you when you want to go fight a giant dragon. Go! And having friends who can cook, always a plus in real life and in animes and in every part of life. And wandering into a boss room with just 2 people, maybe not be the greatest of the ideas. So,
Not the best of ideas.
So Dito, as they're walking in the boss room, what happens?
So as they get in there, they're going to be noticing that it's Gleam Eyes, I believe its name was again. I wrote it down, but didn't put it in here. But has 4 health bars and apparently a broadsword. So
Big
once you
broadsword.
see this, it just kind of like roars at them. They turn around and they pretty much book it. They book it like 2 screaming girls, and since one of them is, the other one isn't, and that's kind of pretty pitiful.
Yeah. So, of course, they run out, and for like one of the top 2 players in the game, they book it really fast.
Oh yes,
Um,
but at this point they're at the strategy meeting. You know, they're going to. There's like thinking like, all right, so since it's like this, we're gonna need at least maybe 10 shielded players, blah blah blah. And but then Asuna kind of points something out to Kirito that no one, even me, I kind of question this too, because the purpose of doing one-handed swordplay is to use a shield, and we've never seen Kirito use a shield before. And
he's always used the black one-handed sword that is supposedly of amazing power and
stuff like that.
stuff.
Of epicness.
Yeah. And then, so after that, Kirito kind of just doesn't say anything. And as soon as like, well, late lunch. And she pulls out this.
I love it too. She's just kind of like veers the topic, like, all right, you know, he doesn't want to talk about it, so.
Like, here's a nice sandwich and stuff, and we go into this kind of diatribe on how Asuna has analyzed the entire like taste system for the game and is able to recreate all these different flavors. I thought it was funny though when she hands Kirito the soy sauce and he just sits there like, wait a minute, I know this flavor, and I'm going like, aren't you Japanese?
Well, you gotta think too, you know, he's been stuck in this game for 2 years and just like going, wait, I forgot about this. I mean, you'd be the same way too if you've never, you know, like,
I don't know.
like if you're just doing that, all of a sudden you just kind of taste this thing you're really familiar with, and it was green instead of black.
Well, yeah, if it was me, I'd be probably like Asuna and getting my cooking skill up because I like food.
Must eat. You'd use your extra skill slot just for food, wouldn't you?
Yes. And then out of the blue comes Klein again. I love how Klein just pops in and out. I thought it was only going to be there for one episode, but they decided to just weed him in every time.
Yeah, the most random point. So he just kind of pops in there with his group and everything and sees Kirito there, goes up and is like going, what's up, man? And they're like, who are you with? And that's pretty much where he just stops still, just going like, ugh.
What? You telling me you wouldn't do that too if there's a pretty girl in front of you?
It's not just that, too.
I do that all the time.
He froze there so much that they had to say, like, dude, are you lagging?
I just think that's a normal, natural response when you see a super pretty girl in front of you. That
You
just
lag.
happens to be yeah.
So, in the future reference, guys, if you get stuck staring at a pretty girl and everything, so just blame it on lag.
Yes, I blame everything on lag. And then I swear this level is like high traffic. So after Klein and everybody kind of gets out of their haze, there comes yet another group in front of them, which are called the Front, which I think is a lame name for a group, but all right. Okay.
Yeah, so like just a little background information about these guys too. They're from the first floor. Like they've pretty much just taken over the whole first floor and everything, but now they took like the highest level people and throwing them up there trying to like knock out the floor bosses and everything to get progress through the game faster. And from the looks of it, they've been exhausting themselves.
Yeah, they've been marching. It's a death march.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so they and Kirito kind of warned them, like, don't go there, because it's probably not the best idea right there. And they're like, oh, we know what's best for us, and we'll just keep going and do the thing with the thing and the thing.
And be badasses like that.
Yeah. So they kind of run into there, and then Kirito, he's a softie. He's supposed to be this dark, badass beater, but no, he's a softie.
Frontline beater.
Yeah, he's like, maybe you should go check on him. And so they go, and they actually see them at the boss door, and you just hear all these screams and stuff. So they go towards the door, and the doors are open, and they kind of see like the frontliners kind of getting walloped.
In a whole new way.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden the leader of him kind of flies out of the door, and he's like, can't be, and just totally dies. And that just sends Asuna over the edge, and she just charges in using her Reaper, doing her quick stabby stab 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 stab
Just for like an actual clarification to anyone who's on our audio thing, she went in there literally like Leroy Jenkins. I'm not. I'm. That's just the best way to say it. She just went there just screaming Leroy Jenkins. It's the first thing in my mind.
Yeah, I wish I had my Minecraft sword right here and I could show you step, 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 step. Even though you don't do that in Minecraft. And so, right, and then, of course, she's not powerful enough to take down one boss. No one in this game is. And right before the boss is about to kind of swipe her out, Kirito comes in and kind of blocks him off. But when he's battling with the boss, even when he's just blocking, you can just see his life meter sinking slowly and slowly down. And then he's like, I have to use the skill.
That skill. So at this point, he kind of tells Asuna and Klein to hold the boss off for about 10 seconds, where he's like going through like just playing around with the skill list and everything. And at this point, he's just like ready. And then Asuna and Kirito do switch to take on the boss. And
Switch.
this is where like everything comes together, where his one-handed sword abilities and everything itself comes into play, saying he uses the sword he got from Liz. So
Liz. Yeah, and it's kind of weird though. When he pulls it out, he's like dual wielding with it, and he's like faster, faster, faster. And I'm going, what in the world are you talking about? And he's just slowly like swiping away at this guy, and what he ends up doing is what was the name of attack, Dito?
Starstream Attack, I think it's called.
Yeah, his Starstream attack where he just totally slices the boss. So he takes down the boss just by himself. And so after he takes it off, he literally has 1 HP left, and he's like,
Yeah, you see him dead red,
Yeah.
1% HP, and he literally did solo this boss almost to death.
Yeah, and this was kind of an interesting part because they stuck in this little scene right here. It looks like he's finally out of the game, but then he closes his eyes again, and opens it again, and he's staring at Asuna. And I love this because like she starts hugging him. It's like, don't hug me too hard, or you're gonna get rid of that last HP. But it turns out that the reason why he didn't want to do this is because the dual wield skill just randomly appeared. He doesn't even know how it showed up for his character, but it just did. So he's kind of been trying to keep it a secret. And the funny thing is, Asuna, like, right then it's like, I think I'm going to take a break from the Knights of Blood. And Kirito's like, why? So remember we were going to party together? And no, I do not mean any innuendos. I'm not even going to lie. From this point on, towards the rest of these 2 episodes that we watch, I swear there are like a gazillion innuendos in there. And just take it as you hear it. Literally, we're not trying to say something else on there. I just don't know why it turned out like that.
It's an MMORPG. It's just kind of snuck it in there.
So I think it was probably a month later or something. It turns out like Kirito, everybody's trying to bug him now, trying to figure out how he developed this dual wield skill. Not yet, Bob. Not yet. And so he can't even like go back to his house anymore because people are just lining up trying to ask him questions. So he's hiding out at what's his face's place, the arms dealer. And then Liz comes by and says, "I thought that was just a secret between you and me. Now you just go around telling everybody." I just think it's funny, like these guys. You think that you would only see them in one episode, but the creators decide to bring them back constantly, which is really good. So it turns out that the commander of the Knights of Blood, doesn't want Asuna to doesn't want to let Asuna take a break. And so she's like, I want to take a break. So they kind of go meet with him, and he's like, how about we settle this with a duel? How about just, we've seen duels before in this, and it's kind of just one-on-one duels. And we see Heathcliff, not the cat.
No.
Apparently he has this holy sword skill that can attack and defend, and it's so powerful that no one has ever seen his life bar go down to yellow on there.
So here we go with the actual duel between Heathcliff and Kirito, and it's actually a pretty intense battle. I mean, just go watch this whole thing. But because the whole something just randomly happens when Kirito gets an opening, but Heathcliff evaded it and eventually did win against Kirito. So, but when he's looking at him at the end of the battle, he doesn't look too happy because he almost demolished Heathcliff.
Yeah, and well, it was weird because mid battle, for some reason, Kirito just freezes up, and they don't explain it either.
Lag.
There wasn't a pretty girl around. So he loses the fight right there, and then apparently Kirito's now in the Knights of Blood.
Woo! I didn't sound very excited today.
Yeah. I think their uniform's a little outrageous, but okay.
Oh, look, you don't like that white on red look? It looks so refined. KT, you should try it sometime.
I'm Asian, dude. I'm yellow.
Yes, so are they.
But so as soon as it's my fault, you got dragged into all this, and it's no, I'm kind of getting to the limits of soloing. I'm like, oh, I think he just wants to get closer to Asuna.
It's just lazy.
So then they kind of go back in mini clip episode about the first guild of the Black Cat Knights thing, whatever. That Kirito's in, and that's why he solos now. So they kind of get together, and then all of a sudden Godfrey interrupts, and they're like, you have to go through a training mission on there.
We must find out how tough you really are, blah, blah, blah. So now he has to go on to this little training expedition with Godfrey and our good old friend Kadil.
Yes.
Or Kudaril, sorry. And at this point, he comes up just I'm sorry for all the stuff that I did a few days ago, blah, blah, blah. But he just seems so, reserved, Kirito's just kind of what's your deal, dude? So to test their abilities, so Godfrey wants to test their abilities to assess the situation and trying to just set stuff like that. He asks for all their crystals, healing crystals, teleportation crystals, all of it.
Yeah, I thought it was funny no one had the same colored crystal.
Oh, come on. Who wants to be like everybody
You would
else?
think all the healing crystals would be a green or a red or something. And, just for uniformity's sake on there.
I love how the crystals look the same.
Yeah.
I would just grab one oh crap, teleport.
Yeah, I can see that. It's Dito, I need a heal one. And all of a sudden you just teleport out. Well, great. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Peace. see you on the flip side, dude.
There is no flip side. My brain just exploded. Thanks a lot, buddy.
In the game, you have no friends.
Dang it. But so they kind of reach this valley right there. And before they head into the labyrinth to kind of clear away, it's supposed to be a pretty easy labyrinth right there. It turns so everybody takes a sip of water, but Kurdil, he kind of just goes, and all of a sudden, Kirito, he throws away his water, but it's too late, and he's already paralyzed. And
This is about the time we see Kirill start maniacally laughing like your typical evil villain. Starts going in there saying that this is all your fault, blah blah blah, and takes his sword onto Godfrey. Repeatedly stabs him, puts the whole story in this aspect, saying that I bravely fought some raiders, blah blah blah. So he had this whole elaborate story planned out, but he seemed to be enjoying it a little too much. This wasn't just simple revenge he was doing.
Yeah, and so he kills Godfrey, and that's kind of, I was like, dang it, that was actually a waste of a good character. I bet you Godfrey was a pretty interesting character to do that. And then he heads on over to Kirito, and Kuradil kind of shows that he's part of the laughing coffin on his arm,
For all those who don't remember Laughing Coffin, that was from our Halloween episode.
where everybody just likes to go player kill everybody.
Yeah, they're just random people saying, "Hey, look, we're just gonna go kill people." Ha ha! Stabby, stabby, stabby.
Yeah, so he kind of actually goes and stabs different parts of Kirito until Kirito is almost dead with like about 1% off, and all of a sudden you just see this flaming light go by, and it turns out it's Asuna. She came to the rescue, and this is kind of creepy though. I'm not gonna lie. This is a
Yeah.
little
This
bit
is-
creepy because I was watching you on the map, and then all of a sudden, Godfrey's marker disappeared, and I got scared. I'm glad I made it in time, and I'm like, "Wow,
I'm
you're
just
like
overprotective
Yeah.
much."
she's like you're the vice commander of the strongest guild in the game. Do you not have anything else to do other than stare at a map for hours at a time?"
Apparently not. Apparently she's just like completely just like overprotective Kirito right now.
Yeah.
And it's probably a good thing too because she came and saved him.
And then all of a sudden, Kuradil, he gets up, and Asuna again goes, "Stabby, stabby, stabby, stabby." Like
Her
that.
relentless stabbing attacks.
And gets him down to where he's almost dead, and he's like, "I'll quit. I'll change. She'll never see me again." And she lets her guard down, and that's when he's like comes back over and kind of hits her sword away, and then tries to slice and dice her to death. But Kirito finally is
Comes to the
rescue, but he doesn't have a shield. Remember, he's only a single-handed thing. So, what does he use as a shield?
His wrist. Yeah, and at this point, he's like, Cordille's just like baffled. This fact moans like you just see his arm, his wrist, completely chopped off, and it disappears. This is the first thing came through my mind. Is like, oh crap! Does that mean if you lose a body limb in the game, does that mean you lose it forever?
I know. I was really hoping it'd be kind of like in Star Wars. You know how Luke loses his arm and he gets
I was gonna make a Star Wars reference to this. I really was gonna make a Star Wars reference to this, but I was hoping that it was just like.
But then I'd be worried that Kuradil would be like, "Kirito, I am your father."
I hope to God it never happens. But at this point, we see that Kirito has like another skill up his sleeve too. It's apparently a hand-to-hand skill where I've dubbed it Shining Finger.
G Gundam, Dito's
Yeah,
favorite Gundam of all
no matter
time.
how I looked at this, no matter how I looked at this entire scene, I couldn't get G Gundam in my head. I just couldn't.
Kirito doesn't have a Sailor
It,
Moon
it doesn't
transformation
matter.
sequence.
It doesn't matter. It's Kirito is now Shining Gundam.
He needs to have a transformation sequence.
Don't make me. I will go build the Shining Finger or just Shining Finger Gundam. Sorry, the Shining Gundam, and I will put Kirito's head on it.
You would.
I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna have to go try and find.
Unfortunately, we don't get fun things like that. But he does the Shining Finger, and then this is the sick part about it is Kuradil goes murderer and totally disappears after that.
This is about the same time frame as that Asuna comes in and just completely breaks down on him
Yes.
because he lost his hand. She got him involved in all this stuff, and she's just like, "I'm just gonna leave you alone and everything." But he was just like going, "Don't worry about it." It's like, "You saved my life. My life is now yours." Blah blah blah. I just want to spend the night alone together. He did.
They kiss first, right? She's
I forgot. Yeah, that's
she's
what they
bawling, and now Bob, they finally kiss after 10 episodes. They finally kiss. I can't say I didn't see that coming from the beginning.
do. No, I couldn't. It was that obvious since episode 1.
Oh man. So they're having dinner and everything, and then Asuna starts how do I say this gently? Unequipping her gear.
Yeah, that's the most tasteful one in this case.
Yeah, and she's like, it's awkward if it's just me. And Kirito's like, I just
I
wanted to
I
spend
literally just want to spend time with you. And that's when
Oh.
and that's when Asuna shows off her shining finger and totally punches him.
Yeah. And then you can watch the rest of the scene, but after all that happens, Kirito starts talking about like finding a nice place to settle on the 22nd floor and everything, and asks Asuna to marry him. Oh, I really,
And yeah, it's like going, all right, I didn't see that coming.
yeah. But we'll see where Sword Art goes on. I thought it was only going to be 12 episodes, but it looks like they're going for a full 24 to 26 episode run, because they're only like halfway through the game levels now. They're like on level 56.
Yeah. But we never know. It's like we will soon find out in
Yes.
our next episode, Kita.
Yeah, we'll find out. But for now, let's head into the newsroom, Dito.
Do we have to?
I love the newsroom. And THNN is brought to you by Cat Harmonicas. Give one to a friend today. Oh, Dito, campaigning is now in full effect at Takafukuji High. Have you heard anything from the Sneakjima Yuki group?
Actually, KT, that's going to be Ojima.
Ah, dang it! I'm gonna get this name right. I am
But
determined to get.
There
this
is
right.
something though. I hear he's kind of a flirt.
Really? This might help getting the female voters on there, and we do have a fairly large female population at the school.
Yeah. So, the positions now. Further campaigning, they got to get themselves into like strategic positions to get the attention of all the students. So they found the most best place where everybody is going to be able to see them on their way to school, which is this little roundabout. There's a little roundabout between the two bridges.
I know that place. I walk past it every single day.
Yes, and you have to go see that stage, KT. That stage is just, it's human powered, actually.
Oh, it's green. That might even get him more votes because it's green. It doesn't cause pollution out there. But I also heard that there was a little bit of a kerfuffle over there at the stage the other day.
Yeah, apparently because, they have a financial aid student or financial aid member that's been assisting all the campaigns, and it seems like the financial aid members have just been getting a little like harassed lately.
Isn't that what the Public Safety Commission is out there for? Aren't they supposed to be protecting the student population right there?
That is true, KT, but they did actually intervene in this one, and the situation was brought to a very immediate halt.
This might explain why I've been hearing rumors. It hasn't been official that Ojima, he wants to end this discrimination against financial aid students, and I've heard rumors that he might add it to his manifesto. Do you think that would actually change his chances in the election?
To be honest, like the whole financial aid has been kind of like harassed from years back and everything. And if he tries to do this, it might go against him. It could actually potentially ruin his chances.
This is really interesting, especially since he is the newcomer in this. He does not have a commission backing him this year.
Yeah, it would be better off to not do this and then change it when he's in office.
That is very interesting.
That would help his chances, but at the same time,
Well, how are his chances right now in the school?
well, after the latest polls right now, KT, it seems that with his current rating, he is actually up there. He's sitting at 39.4% in the favor of all the election candidates right now.
Ooh, that actually gives him a good chance. So, I don't know if these rumors of this manifesto changing is true, but that could affect that number right there. But in other news, the Public Safety Commissioner Usawa Yunya is finally off her probation and returning to the Public Safety Commission. While she was gone, President Mori was handling both positions, both his presidential position and as the Public Safety Commissioner at the same time. He's probably glad that he's able to bring his duties back to her, and hopefully from this point on, we can move forward from the financial aid incident that happened earlier this year that caused a lot of this bullying. And we will keep you updated with the latest news from the Public Safety Commission as they develop. And unfortunately, this week we were going to have Morishita-san on, but she's actually on assignment right now, trying to search for anybody. So that actually ends our coverage or our broadcast tonight of the THNN and the Kita Anime podcast. So I hope you guys enjoyed our crappy broadcast. I'm glad there's a couple people out there in the chat room. If you guys want to join the chat room, they don't even talk about what we're talking about
Nope.
most of the time. Just head on over to ktdata.net/live, and we're usually broadcasting on Tuesdays afternoon/night around
Evening
so,
slash night
sometime around
morning.
there. But head on over there, talk to all the people there. They're pretty much all trolls or something like that. But hey, it's
Very
fun.
colorful.
They're fun. At least they're loyal trolls that show up.
That's true. That's true.
Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/ktdatanet, at ktdata on Twitter, Kita Anime Podcast on Google+, ktdata on Pinterest. Am I missing anything?
Not that I know of.
Yep.
ktdata.net. That's where everything starts from.
Yeah. And Dito, I know, do you have anything to plug on the site that's coming up really soon?
Yes, I will be doing a review off of Aqua Plaza. It's a new fighting game that came out back in August 30th. It's by the here, just do it right there. By Aqua Plus. Now, here's the game. This is a Japanese version. I doubt we'll see this in the States anytime soon, but it's basically an anime-based fighter from the visual novels, not actually the anime. So, pretty fun. I'll throw this up here in probably next couple days after I get some more time to play it and actually beat it, because it's actually pretty difficult.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I have a couple movie reviews one movie review on ktdata.net right now. I will be getting a couple more. Those remember those boxes from our last episode? Since I finally got a better camera on my phone, you're gonna get those reviews. I kind of delayed them purposely since I knew this was gonna happen. And also, if you guys are fans of Kickstarter or crowdfunding projects, we're doing an episode of the Kickcast 2 weeks in a row. So we're going to be doing this Thursday and next Thursday, probably around 6 or 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Usually that one's on time because Isaac's a better stickler at time things than I am. But kickcast.net or ktdata.net/live, it kind of all leads to ktdata.net anyways. But that's actually, this week's going to be our last beta episode. So hopefully after that, we'll have a final episode starting next week.
Wow. And again, email us for any suggestions or comments, because we are going to be setting up our new stuff too, and want us to continue on any of the shows or any repeating shows, like Jerkman 2 is going to be coming out next winter. That's Kita at ktdata.net. Yeah. And
so for us, we will see you guys in 2 weeks, which is October 9th.
Woo, October!
Halloween's coming. Do you have anything?
That sounded so excited.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to plug, Dito?
No.
All right, guys. We will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
2 weeks, guys. That laugh, it's like we always wait for it.
Dito, Steve Jobs here. Did you know that this podcast is revolutionary and imaginative, and I think you'll like it?
The hell?
Steve, Dito, do you know what time it is?
Is it time to save the red pandas?
In this episode, Kagami goes on a drink run. We learn what happens to guys when they see a pretty girl. They lag. And THNN talks about the latest. Dito, do you know what time it is?
Damn it.
I didn't even do anything.
I know. My brain just blanked right there.
Let's try this one more time. Take 4. Dito, do you know what time it is?
It's time that we go and actually do the right intro, KT.
In this episode, Kagami goes on a drink run. We learn what happens to guys when they see a pretty girl. They lag. And THNN covers the latest results from the polling approval rating. Damn it! Take 5. Hey, Dito, do you know what time it is?
It's time for you to get this, KT.
Woo! In this episode, Kagami goes on a drink run. We learn what happens to guys who see pretty girls. They lag. And THNN talks about the latest projections and election approval ratings. All right, let's come on. We got this. Latest approval ratings. Let's. Oh, man. Hey, Dito, do you know what time it is?
It's time to watch out for the chocobo crossing, KT.
Yes! In this episode, Kagami goes on a drink run, and we learn. This is getting worse. The more we do this is getting worse.
I'm using too many props.
Kagami goes on a drink
Big
run.
tentacle glape.
Alright. Ready? Take 7. Hey, Dito, do you know what time it is?
Yes, KT, it's time to save the red pandas.
All right. In this episode, Kagami goes on a drink run. We learn what happens to guys when they see a pretty girl. They lag. And THNN talks about the latest approval ratings in the election. All that and more coming up. Yes!
Oh, it only took us 7 tries. Or 8.